you have something to give to Code Red. You have something to give, even if you've only lost 5 pounds. Your story might be really powerful to the lady that's standing right here behind you, getting ready to meet Cristy. Maybe this is a lifelong friendship and you don't know it. You will never know unless you show up and be present and give of yourself in those situations.
You do have something to contribute. And a lot of people say, well, I know I don't have a college degree, or I never traveled to Europe, or I've been, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't care what you do and where you've been and what you've studied in college. You have something to say.
I'm Cristy Code Red, and you're listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, where we believe food holds the power to heal or poison, and we believe our society has been misled regarding proper nutrition and weight loss. You're in the right place if you're looking for some straight up truth, because I'm here to shed light on the lies and brainwashing that has taken place over the past 5 decades. Thanks so much for listening.
Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. Just as I started to introduce us, I realized I had a big itchy on my back, and I was like, oh boy, itchy, itchy, itchy. You know, when your kids are little and you're like, oh, itchy, itchy, itchy. I am Cristy Code Red, your host, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer, and it's always a pleasure, and it's always so much better when we do a podcast with Carrie Thompson. Thank you, sis.
Thank you for letting me be here. The last podcast at the time of this recording was our Out of Egypt podcast. If you guys have not caught it, you need to go back and see it or listen to it, because we hit the ball. I'm just going to say it. We hit a home run on that one, Cristy.
Well, it wasn't our last one. It was a couple of podcasts ago. Yes. Our last one from this one.
Our last one.
Yeah. Oh, our last one together. I know we did. We hit the ball out of the park.
So please go back and watch and listen to that one if you haven't, guys. I mean, all of Cristy's podcasts, from her interviews with people with RA, to the Natasha interview, to the people that had migraines, the men of Code Red, they're all phenomenal podcasts. There's not a loser among them, honestly. So,
really
but
isn't.
No, there really isn't. Like, someone said to me the other day on a live Q&A, Cristy, they said, how do you stay motivated? I said, y'all, there's 1.5 million podcasts out there. Put one on every day when you're driving to work and get yourself motivated.
That's what I do with Joyce Meyer. I listen to a Joyce Meyer podcast. I mean, guys, there's so many free resources with Code Red, so many options. You know that the custom program group, where our custom program clients work through their weight loss, has over 1,000 videos. You can binge watch out till Jesus comes back.
Yeah. There's no excuse for not having enough information. And let me just say this: a while ago, Cristy, I started listening to a couple of people that have some interesting, relationship kind of stuff. And so I thought, I'm going to listen to their podcast. So I started listening, and Cristy, the whole podcast, and again, not knocking these people, I'm sure they're very nice, but it was all geared towards you always buying. So you always got like half a story, almost all the problem. It'd be like doing a multiplication problem. And I'll say, what's 4 times 3? And then you say 12. And I would say, put the 2 down there. Oh, I'm not going to tell you if you're supposed to carry the 1 or not. You'll have to pay $47 to find out. And I was always like, well, you're not going to give me any information. You're just going to talk about your product. So one thing I love about Code Red is that we always give you take home good, solid advice that you can use in your weight loss journey without paying a dime, honestly.
And if you look at my YouTube channel, I mean, we release a new YouTube video every day, 5 days a week, and it's all nuggets. And I know what you're talking about, that relationship podcast. I know what you're talking about, and it drives me nuts because it's like, listen, I know people are going to come to me. I know they're going to come to Code Red. Ain't nobody getting weight off people better than Code Red. Everybody eventually always comes to Code Red or comes back to Code Red. So I don't mind putting out a bunch of content for you to learn from, because if you need help, you're going to come to us.
Your YouTube is internet gold. It's internet gold. It reminds me a lot of Thomas DeLauer, where he does have product placement. You don't do that. He does have product placement, but because he does the product placement, it affords him, and if you guys don't know him, he's a guru in the community of low carb eating and biohacking. He's awesome. But all that to say is, Cristy, fashions herself like after Thomas. She gives good takeaway stuff and she's not charging people every single time they turn around. That's what I love about him. If I type in hormonal balance and something, he's going to have a video. And yes, there's going to be some product placement so I can get that video at no cost, but I'm getting really good information. And that's how you are. You're giving people really good information on hormones, really good information on detox, great information on, interesting things on supplements and diabetes and GI issues. And this is good info in a really easy to watch format. So I go watch your videos all the time.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that. My heart's desire is just to provide you guys with a ton of content. And then, you'll there are links there to join and you'll get the products. You'll get look, when I say you don't need to be dairy is going to slow down your weight loss, I'm going to give you a nut pod dairy alternative. I'm going to hold it up in the screen, so it's going to benefit you. So to sell is to serve, but nobody likes to be oversold and nobody likes to be just pitched all the time. So I'm glad that nobody gets that impression. At least that's not what they say in the comments. They're always real positive in the comments. So
yeah,
today
good. I agree.
We are talking about the power of community. The power of community. Did you know that community studies and data and research have shown that community is the number one biggest determining factor when losing your weight and keeping it off?
And also one of the biggest determining factors with what your future health is going to look like. Cristy used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Or something like that. You used to say something like that, like who you hang around with. Our mom used to tell us, well, who you date is who you marry. So don't date bad boys that are like exciting and fun and on the motorcycle. But then, all of a sudden you're married, you got 4 kids with one and you're like, he's a bad boy. Well, you dated him. I don't know what to tell you. So surround yourself with like-minded people, and community is so important. And I know Cristy and I have talked about this in some form, but let me tell you what made me think of it, Cristy. Cristy said to me the other day, do you know, we're getting some surveys back. Do you know why people join the custom program group? And these challenges, they do it because they really like the group setting. Now, I have to tell you, to somebody like Cristy and I, this is a kind of, and especially Cristy, we're very much solo soldiers, and Cristy especially, she doesn't have to have a group of people supporting her. She is going to do it whether there's one person or there's 1,000 people. She's still going to soldier on. So it was shocking to Cristy, and she said that to me, and I was like, yeah, that's why. And she was like, huh, which I thought was really cute. It was cute that you said that.
Yeah, and Natasha told me that. She said 80% of people who will join your custom program and your VIP program, they are doing it for the community. And I was blown away. I said, yes. What? And she said they want to be a part of the community. They don't have any intention, or maybe they have intentions, but they don't care whether they lose their weight or not. They don't really, that's not a big deal to them. They're doing it because they want to be connected to the community.
And I'm glad that you brought up, it was Natasha. I apologize for forgetting that. I just remember us having that conversation and I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Although I'm not a big, oh my God, everyone's my girlfriend. I've never been that kind of person my whole life. I have a few close friends. I'm friendly to everyone, but I'm not BFFs with everybody. I mean, you've met those people, Cristy. They're like Cabo Girls Trip 2021. I'm like, where can Cristy and I go where we could have buffet breakfast in the morning and then work the rest of the afternoon on the beach?
The best trip ever.
I know. That's what I think about. I don't feel like I have to be surrounded by that. But again, this is a function of how Cristy and I operate and how Cristy and I are raised. And we recognize that rebels are not the same way. So in recognizing that, Cristy has done an amazing job building a community of Code Red people. And you guys, this community exists on so many interesting levels. It's your neighbor that's doing Code Red with you. And then maybe it's the 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people on the challenge with you. And then maybe it's the 20,000 people on the life group. Maybe it's the 1,000 people in the custom program group. I don't know what it looks like for you. But what I love about Cristy is that I feel like, Cristy, you've tried to serve all different levels of people.
I really thank you. I really have. We've got between my Instagram and the YouTube and the Code Red lifestyle page on Facebook of 50,000 plus followers. It has really gotten big. And I remember as an entrepreneur, this is what you want for your movement, for your message. You want people meeting outside of you. You don't want to have to be there in order for people to meet. And what we noticed over the last 5 years is pockets of people were popping up all over the country. People that were getting together to go and go out to coffee together. People getting together to go walk. Walking exercise is not a part of weight loss, but people just getting together for whatever reason and supporting each other in person. Of course, before COVID, this was so much easier. And now we're starting to get back to that at the time of this recording, May of 2021. We're starting to get back to normal. And we're starting to kind of come out of lockdown and be in person with people again. And I know part of the Code Red lifestyle is us offering in-person events. They're so powerful.
I have to tell you that I never understood it. Of course, now y'all know this, that I've been working for Cristy almost 4 years, Cristy.
I guess, is it? Yes, I think you're right.
What the crap? That's a long time, guys.
Gosh.
Anyway, but when I first started working for Cristy, before I came to any Code Red events, I will tell you that I did not understand this concept. Of course, I had attended college in person. I went to graduate school online. We do things in person. I had gone to churches. So I'd done a lot of group things, but getting to go to a Code Red event in person is like nothing I've ever done. I'm just here to tell you, it is amazing. And we had some, now looking back now with our COVID sunglasses on, our COVID shades, I'm like, look at all those big events we had and no one got sick. It was amazing. I think about that. But Cristy, remember the Red Lion in Lewiston, Idaho? Oh, Cristy stood an hour for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Stood in line.
It was like 7 hours. People stood in line to
meet stood in line to meet people, to hug them, to take a picture with them. And I have seen this all over the country at Code Red events. It's not just Idaho. It's not just Lewiston. It was Coeur d'Alene. It was Minnesota. I saw it in Texas. I've seen it all over.
Portland.
Remember when you went to
Seattle.
the East Coast to that
New
women's
Hampshire
event? That was amazing. And there's just something about meeting Cristy in person, which seems weird because I'm her sister. I'm telling you that, but it's just, and I know it's you. Okay. So I know it's you, but I think that's something a little bit bigger than you. It's the feeling supported in this journey of taking your life back.
Yeah, certainly I am just one small, I got a little itchy on my head here. I keep scratching my head here. I'm one small portion of this whole thing. And I know that I am, as Carrie calls me El Jefe, I know that I am Code Red, but it is all encompassing. But you remember, sis, for Code Red Live 2019 in Boise, when our Aunt Barbara, we have an Aunt Barbara who is our dad's youngest sister, and Aunt Barbara flew up from the Bay Area to come and help us. At the time, she worked for Code Red, and she helped us at this live event, which was 1,000 people. Oh. Yeah, it was 1,000 people.
Oh, so awesome.
I think that's what it was. And we needed volunteers and help, and she helped us, and she was completely blown away. Now, I think she still sees me as the Cristy Terhurst with the long brown pigtails riding my horse. I don't think she quite could grasp, even though she even worked for Code Red, how big the movement has gotten. And she was blown away at how powerful the in-person event was.
It's almost when I remember I was the MC at that event, and when I was stand up there, Cristy, and even though the lights, darken those first couple rows, and I've done a lot of performing in my life. I've sang at a lot of things. I've presented at big things. It's not like I haven't been in front of people to sing and talk and all crazy things, but I will tell you that it almost makes you want to cry. It's that weird feeling of it's an odd feeling of that many people that were all there for one reason, because we were sick, we were fat, we were in bad health. Some of us had chronic debilitating conditions. Some of us had weight loss surgery and it didn't work, but we're all there to hear what you have to say and to support each other in that. And that is why That is why churches have done well. That is why women's groups have done well. That is why the women's knitting club, the guys that go throw darts. You guys think it has to do very much about darts? No, it has to do with guys getting together, being men together. And I know that sounds very sexist. I'm not trying to be like that. I know there are women dart clubs. I'm just saying it's not about the fishing. My dad goes fishing with his brother all the time. I'm here to tell you, yeah, they like to fish. It's the community that they're looking for.
It really is the community. And it's so funny because we talk about this on our challenge, the 10-pound takedown. There is a day where I talk about cleaning out your news feed and surrounding yourself. Of course, I call it clean out your news feed and surround yourself with like-minded people. And it is so important because you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. And because social media has gotten so huge and so powerful, you want to clean out your newsfeed as well. I'm super protective of who I surround myself with, even in person and online, because I'm looking at that stuff all the time. And it is incredible how powerful that feeds into you. You absorb the energy of those people. So you want to aspire higher. You want to level up your game. You definitely want to be in a community of people that do believe what you believe, and will hold your feet to the fire and will help lift you up. And at the time of this, when this comes out, we will be having our June 2021 events. Yes, we're calling it Better in Boise Rebel Reunion. And it's kind of the Better in Boise came as a joke because it was supposed to be in Lake Tahoe, California. And California made it impossible for us to be able to meet, even if we met all the criteria, and we just absolutely couldn't. It was impossible. So we said, that's fine. We were all so upset. We said, that's fine. You know what? We'll just make it Better in Boise. Well, then it kind of stuck. And this is June 25th, 26th, and 27th. And it's 2 events on the 25th, 2 events on the 26th, and a Code Red Family Day on the 27th. And people are, it's not even about the meal. Like, the ticket price comes with a meal. Those guys couldn't care less about the meal. They couldn't care less. They couldn't care less about what I'm wearing or what my makeup looks like. They couldn't care less. They are so excited about seeing each other.
They really are, Cristy. I've gotten so many messages. Carrie, are you going to be at Better in Boise? And because of coronavirus, I had avoided going to anything because I didn't want to take the seat of somebody else that wanted to meet Cristy. That's ridiculous. If Betty from New Jersey can't get a ticket because I'm there to say hi, but now I'm going to be able to be there, Cristy. And I am so excited. It is life-changing for me. And I'm just helping you do what you do. Oh my gosh. It is inspiring. It is. The other day, Cristy, somebody wrote in and they said, they were talking about struggling with overeating. And they said, when things get stressful. And she said, I just keep playing Carrie's video. I don't deserve to snack because I'm in a bad situation. It's a talk about what do you deserve? And I was like, oh, that woman's paying my video. She said, sometimes I listen to it several times a day. So to think that I have had an impact in my small Kentucky turkeys and dogs and messy floors and crazy house, and to think that maybe I have had a chance to make a difference in someone's life on a really small scale is so inspiring. And to get to meet you guys and hug you and watch you talk to Cristy and watch you just take pictures. I'm telling you, it's life-changing. It really is.
You really do absorb the energy of all those people in the room. It is absolutely incredible to the feeling. You get to hear the stories. You get to be around people. And so much of us have experienced the same thing. So much of you guys have struggled with the same thing. We're more alike than we are different. Yes. as a human species. And it is wonderful to be able to meet together. And the same thing goes with churches. Why do you think churches are so successful? Not because God does not require us to go to church. It's not a part of his, like he asks us to meet in a place of worship. He suggests that we do, but it's not a requirement of your salvation. You don't have to, in order for you to be saved and go to heaven, doesn't mean you have to be. Of course, I think there are some religions out there that want you to believe that, but it's not a criteria. But it's a whole matter of surrounding yourself with people who are also Christ-like. Why do you think they go to newborn moms pushing in the strollers group? They call it the stroller walker group. What about those mall walkers? Guys, it's about being around people who believe what you believe and that can strengthen you and lift you up.
So one of my very favorite shows on TV, everyone will know it when I say it, maybe not Cristy, because she doesn't watch that much TV. Oh, maybe I introduced you to it, but Somebody Feeds Phil. So Phil, this guy was the producer of Everybody Loves Raymond. And he's just got a great personality, and he goes all over the world and he meets people and eats their food, which is fun to watch. I like the cultures. Okay. So one of them, he went to, I want to say it was, Korea, like South Korea, obviously not North Korea. And he went to a mall, and I could get this wrong, please. And I'm really sorry if I got this wrong. And these little women, Cristy, every morning met at the same spot in this mall and have had whatever their little coffee or whatever. Yes. Every morning. And do you know something that is a reoccurring theme in all of the Somebody Feed Phils? Cristy, it's a little group of Korean women that are in their 80s that have been meeting at that table for 30 years. It was a group of men in Vietnam that bring their birds and have their morning Vietnamese meal, and their birds all sit in an area and they learn songs from each other. It's not about the food. It's not about the donuts that these Korean women are having. It's not about the Vietnamese breakfast. It's not even about the birds. It's about community. And that's one thing that is true in every single one of his episodes. He finds a group of people that are getting together that has nothing really to do with food, but he brings it back around to that. And that is what Code Red is like. We're a group of little Korean women. I'm just saying, we get together and you just feed off of that. Do you know how much better I can be struggling with whatever? But if I can just get with Cristy, like, Cristy, can you just come to my house for a couple of days, or can I come be with you? There's something about being around. Of course, Cristy has an incredible energy, but there's something about being around that makes me want to be better at being me. So when you come to a Code Red event, it makes you want to do better. It makes you want to strive and push and challenge yourself and really go for it.
I did another podcast about people gaining their weight back and what happens when people gain their weight back. And unfortunately, there is a common theme among everybody. When they gain their weight back, they quit getting on the scale, they quit drinking their water, they start eating sugar again. But the fourth one is they disconnect from the community. Every single one of them. And Natasha talked about it on the Losing the Weight for the Second Time podcast. She talked about I ignored the cardinal rule. She said, I disconnected from the community, and you can't do that. You cannot be, I mean, there are some outliers, maybe like 5 on Nat Geo's Life Below Zero or Alaska Bush people who live this solitude life out in the middle of nowhere, and they don't want to be. It's really very, 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 very rare. But most of us need each other. We do. Our love cup gets full by being around community. So by you disconnecting from the community, and by the way, let me just say that if you've gained some weight back, or you're not at goal weight and you should have been at goal weight 6 months ago, that does not matter to me. I'm not going to be able to remember all the details. If you come see me at a Code Red event in June or any Code Red event and you're not really proud of yourself or you're full of shame or whatever, my gosh, please don't let that keep you from coming to see me and the rest of the Rebels. And a lot of people say, I was off track. Man, I'm so fired up and inspired to be back on track now.
And Cristy, I think that what people do need to understand is that it's something that people need to understand about you. Although you are very tough and you hold our feet to the fire, you do not, I have watched you at so many of these events, and I've never once seen you ever come at anybody with anything but love. But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Yes, you might even admit, oh, Cristy, I'm 10 pounds up or whatever. But Cristy's just like, I love you. Come here. Just let's get a picture. This is how you move forward from here. And Cristy, I just want to say, how mad did you make people with that podcast about people falling off the wagon? Remember that one?
A lot of people were mad about that.
People don't like it because they don't like it because it's true. That's why they don't like it. What is Cat Williams says? If you haven't got enough haters, come on over. I got some haters you can borrow.
I got my haters.
When Cristy makes people really upset, I always go, there must have been a little bit of truth to that, and people don't want to hear it. So I'm sure we'll hear it about this one too. But yeah, Cristy accepts people 100%. And Cristy, even like you were talking about Life Below Zero, even Sue has her group of people, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though she lives in the middle of nowhere, y'all that have watched the show know who I'm talking about. It seems like it's just
Sue.
her.
Come on.
Sue and her dogs and then the wolves out there. Like you would think that she really is isolated, but even she talks on the radio with people. When she goes into town to get supplies, she has a group of friends that she connects with. So everybody needs somebody. It's a very rare person that can live a completely solo existence.
I think that 2020 really brought this out. It brought shed light on the fact that we desperately need each other. It is not enough to do Zoom meetings. It is not enough to FaceTime. It is not enough to Skype. It is not enough to text. It is not enough to type "I love you." It works, but I know that the few times it's been quite a few. I've made quite a few trips to Kentucky, and Carrie's made a lot of trips to Boise. It is so different when we're able to be together, like just riding in the car together, going to gym class together, walking out to the chickens together, going to Elmer's together when you're in Boise. Like it's so much better when we're saying the same things to each other, but being in person is so powerful. You can't underestimate the power of community and being together in the same room. It's just not the same.
And I think that, Cristy, this is my prediction for Better in Boise. And I hope every single person listening is going to go to coderedlifestyle.com/events, right, Cristy? And check it out. I want to see you. I want to meet you. I want to hug you. But I'm telling you, I think it'll be sweeter. I think it'll be like, I think about when Brandon was deployed and how I kiss him goodbye every day when he leaves for work. But that first time he comes home after being gone for a year, it's totally different. And I think that is how Better in Boise is going to be, Cristy, because these people that we talk to, we Skype, we say hi to, I write emails to, and I, thank you for everything. I appreciate you. Let me send you something in the mail. Let me help you with your water bottle. It's totally different when I'm going to see them face to face and be like, oh, give me a hug. It's so good to see you.
It is totally so different. Great to reconnect because you build relationships with these people for years. This is what happens in the entrepreneur community as well. Recently, I went to Stephen Larson's birthday party, and it was like a reunion of all of the entrepreneurs that I know online. I've been on their podcast. They watched me speak at Funnel Hacking Live back in 2019. And we all just were like, oh, it was so much fun to reconnect with them. Same thing. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it be your horseback riding group, your hockey group, your church group, your weight loss group, whatever you've got going on. You've got to connect with them in person. The power of community is so huge, and getting to meet people that you've only talked to for the last 3 years online. And finally you get to see them. And it's funny, Carrie, you know what people always say to me when they see me in person?
No. Okay, go ahead.
I know you're cringing. They'll say anything, by the way. People don't even care. They say, oh, you're much smaller in person than I thought you would. That were.
Really?
And they also say you're taller in person than I thought you were. But I also got a lot high heels on.
Yeah, you do. I feel like you and I, when we're at these events, I feel quite Amazonian. I don't know why. I think it's because we're both tall, but we both have really square shoulders. And there's something about that broad, and we're not big people by any sense of the imagination. Although when we did take a picture with Coach Michelle, how tall is she? 6 foot?
6'1".
Yeah, I did feel better about that. But for the most part, when we take pictures with people, I just feel so hello, I'm going to take a picture with you. I don't know. Cristy is beautiful on camera, but she is so beautiful in real life. And you can just feel that love. Like it just comes off of her. I'm not as good at portraying that, but it just kind of waves off of her, and people just stand and cry when they talk to her. I'm telling you, can we talk about what we're going to do at Better in Boise, or will that date this too much?
Well, I mean, at some point, someone's going to listen to this podcast and it'll already be past. But, we do have, the great thing is at Better in Boise in June of 2021, we do have 4 events that are going to be in person. So each of these events has 75 people. This does include a meal. It does include a photo with me and for me to autograph your thing. And then we're going to do a live interactive Q&A. This is what happens at all of our Rebel reunions. We have the same format. It's right around 3 hours long. I'm going to speak. I'm going to answer your questions live. We're going to all line up. I get to talk to each and every one of you, hug you, autograph your item. And then you we have a big backdrop set up. So with a light, so you can get photos with your friends as well. Because a lot of people want to connect. Remember, it's not just about me. It's about you connecting with the other Rebels. And It's so much fun. Plus, we have products. We always will have products for you that are going to be at a deep discounted price. And why do I discount them? Because I'm not shipping them to you. Amen. And that saves a lot. Shipping is very expensive. So these events are so much fun.
There's something about the buzz in the room when Cristy gets up and she gets that microphone and she's like, hey, Code Red Rebels, welcome. And I just get like I get teary, Cristy, and you're my sister. I hear you talk all the time. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh, it's Cristy Code Red. I'm like, Carrie, you shared a bed with her. Like literally last night before you came here, you guys were in the same hotel room. Like, I don't know, but there's just something about it. I agree with Cristy. Beg, borrow, plead, steal, sell your children, just teasing. But please come. We would love to have you. Or any of the upcoming Code Red events that may be happening even later on. You can always go to coderedlifestyle.com, click on events and see what we have planned. And now that I feel like things are sort of, the rates of infection are starting to go down and more people are getting immunized, that we'll be able to have more of these events, Cristy. And I have missed them. I have missed them so much. And it's going to be sweet. There are people that work for us for a year. I haven't even met them yet. I've never met them in person. But I'm their boss. How weird is that?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But we do encourage you, even if you can't come to one of our events, I want to encourage you to meet where you are with people that share the same interests and love that you share. If it is a horseback riding group, if it is a ladies' Bible study, if you need to connect with other moms, because new moms, the walls feel like they're closing in on you sometimes when you're a new mom. You've got to reach out for help. Let people come around you and love you. Lean on some people in your church. Go ahead and leave your baby at the nursery. My gosh, take an hour for yourself. Connect with people in person. It's the power of the internet is so powerful that you can literally stay in your house. You can stay holed up and you don't ever have to leave. You can still stay connected to the outside world. But the problem with social media is they feed you what they think you need to see. They might not always feed you the truth. And getting out into the open and actually experiencing life makes it to where you're seeing it for yourself. So don't hold yourself up. Be careful. We've seen a lot of suicide rates go up because of the people that are just not getting out and they're not connecting with real people. Guys, we are we're a communal species. We're a tribal species. We need each other. I mean, if you get excommunicated from your tribe back in the day, you will die alone.
Cristy, the reason I was looking down is there's a scripture in the Bible and I wanted to get it. So I actually told you the right one. Hebrews 10:25, not forsaking the assemblings of ourselves as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, meaning lifting one another up. So the Bible says, don't forsake the gathering of the brethren or the females, whatever, however we want to say that. Hebrews says, don't get together, gather together, exhort, not extort.
I was like, exhort?
You owe me $2,000. No, exhort each other, lift each other up. Hebrews says that. And the Corinthians 14:26, come together. Every one of you has a psalm. You have a story. You have a tongue. You have a revelation. Let it all be done to edify. Each one of you has a story. Each one of you has a journey. Each one of you have struggles. I tell my senior leaders and my leaders this all the time. Don't forget that your story could change somebody's life. Do you know how hard it was, Cristy, for me to tell that ridiculous story about me not being able to fit on the roller coaster? You guys have all heard the roller coaster story. If you haven't, go back and listen to the podcast where I talk about weight loss surgery. And this was my moment. It's a horrible story to tell. But the reason I finally just said, Cristy, let's just do it. I'm going to tell the story was because that story has spoken to other people. So those of you that meet other people, your story, your psalm, your wisdom, it means something to other people. You have something to give to a group. You have something to give to Code Red. You have something to give, even if you've only lost 5 pounds, your story might be really powerful to the lady that's standing right here behind you, getting ready to meet Cristy. Maybe this is a lifelong friendship and you don't know it. You will never know unless you show up and be present and give of yourself in those situations.
You do have something to contribute. And a lot of people say, well, I know I don't have a college degree, or I never traveled to Europe, or I've been, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't care what you do and where you've been and what you've studied in college. You have something to say. The world needs you to show up and share that message. And you need to show up in among a group of people, and you need to be a part of that group. You need to partake. Don't shut yourself out from the world. I love that, sis. That was powerful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I think that it's just so easy to hide behind the pain of our experiences. And here's another great example of that. Cristy and I were molested by an uncle. God, that's like a terrible left-hand turn in the conversation. And I never wanted to share it growing up. And one day I felt compelled to share it, and it really helped somebody that was going through it. So even our horrible times, even maybe our divorces, our sad times, our times of depression, that how you navigated that and how you navigated taking your life back, or my story about finally exercising. Maybe I'm just using myself because I know my own stories. But Cristy telling her story about getting off the floor after she'd been knocked down, those are powerful. And though every Betty, Sally, Jim, Harry, all y'all have a story, and somebody needs to hear it. And I want you to be a part of something bigger than you, because not only will you do better in whatever you set out to do, but you will realize that the world, like Cristy said, the world needs to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely. Guys, 10 Pound Takedown is the best place to get started. If you want to join our community, of course, you can always go to coderedlifestyle.com and click on events and find out what events are happening. It's a little more difficult to have events. We used to have them all the time, all over the country. We had them in Dallas. We had them in New Hampshire, Portland, Washington, but things have changed. And so we're doing the best we can. And definitely June of 2021 is our next event. So depending on when you're listening to this podcast, I'll link it up below and you could join us, but really listen to what we say and take that to heart for all the other areas of your life and for the future. And thank you so much for joining us, Carrie. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. Take care, you guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. If you're not subscribed already, please be sure to do that right now. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could do me a quick favor and rate and review this podcast. That would be just so helpful. Speaking of help, let me know if I can help you. Go to coderedlifestyle.com, check out my programs, and see what we can do for you. Until next time, Rebel on.